could you sort of go through pillars of growth for Magic, and if you can briefly address D&D, but then we'll get back to D&D in a bit. But
you asked about D&D really briefly. I'll say that you'll see us leaning heavily into the expansion of D&D through D&D Beyond, the acquisition that we did that closed this past May. We have about 13 million customers, registered users there, that we will continue to serve by giving them more ways to express their fandom.
I was wondering if you could share your vision on how you approach D&D monetization and digitization, and how that's going to be different from Magic, and really how you approach that in general. If we could give kind of an overview of that here in terms of what's next for D&D and how that franchise is different from when you were looking at Magic back in 2017, 2018. Oftentimes, the question I get from investors is, how do you digitize a game that's been around for 50 years, right? Magic, D&D is obviously older than Magic. And along with that, perhaps we can touch on how the integration of D&D and Beyond is going, growth in transactions or whatever you could share.
D&D has never been more popular, and we have really great fans and incredible engagement. But the first thing I saw with it is the brand is really under monetized. Earlier this year, we acquired D&D Beyond, and we're really excited about the possibilities the platform provides and the positive momentum we've already seen. We made this acquisition to strengthen our connection to players and to power our next phase of product development, user acquisition, and to have live service tools through which we gain really valuable data-driven insights. With DDB, we have a window into how fans are playing the game daily. Even if they're playing around the dining room table, many of our D&D fans use Dungeons & Dragons Beyond as a companion app on their phone to make the experience better. And this gives us a look at how people are playing in their homes that we never had before. And so when we think about our future monetization, we start here. Dungeon masters, which are the people who guide you through the adventure, they only make up about 20% of the audience, but they are the largest share of our paying players. And for the rest of the players at the table, we believe digital will allow us to offer a lot more options to create rewarding experiences post-sale that helps us unlock the type of recurrent spending you see in digital games, where more than 70% of the revenue in digital gaming comes post-sale. The speed of digital means that we're able to expand from what is essentially a yearly book publishing model to a recurrent spending environment, and we're offering content that we know fans want. So we're super excited about the type of opportunities we have with D&D to expand beyond the tabletop to reach highly engaged, multi-generational fans all around the globe.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I'd add to that answer is, if you look at like a super simplified view of the strategy at Wizards of the Coast, Magic is this super deep single quadrant brand. Does a fantastic job engaging a very loyal and passionate audience. And I think our strategy at Wizards that Cynthia and the team are really leaning into is growing that engagement and growing that player base over the next several years, so that our new player growth and our reacquired player growth are really kind of carrying the growth of the brand. And you can see that in the initiatives that we're investing in, like expanding distribution of Arena. Steam is the biggest PC distribution platform in the world. That should be a nice kind of leg up for Arena. We also continue to look at other platforms like consoles as another opportunity for that. And then I can't understate how important Universes Beyond is and how much early success we've seen in crossovers like we did last year with D&D, which at the time was our best-selling summer set ever. And then what we did most recently with Warhammer 40K, which, as Cynthia mentioned, is on its third demand-triggered reprint. Like, we can't keep up with the demand there. And that's just a great way to kind of engage that Warhammer fan base in a very similarly deep and lore-rich game and get them activated with us. And we see a lot of upside to that, particularly with big mega brands like Lord of the Rings that we think will be important. And trust me, we have a lot more plans for that and some exciting news that I think we'll be able to share with our fans soon. So Magic's a deep single quadrant strategy. D&D, when I go to cocktail parties and I say, and people ask me, what do I do? What I used to say is, hey, I was president of Wizards of the Coast, and they'd say, what's that? And I'd say, well, we make Magic the Gathering, and then we make Dungeons and Dragons. I'd have maybe a 3 in 10 hit rate on people understanding what Magic was, but if I did, I would have an incredibly deep conversation, and the cocktail party would effectively be over for all other participants. Or like for D&D though, it was 10 out of 10. Everyone knows D&D. Everyone grew up with it in the 70s and 80s, played the video games in the 90s and early aughts, and knows it's a cultural phenomena right now. And so, like, the D&D strategy, if the Magic strategy is a deep single quadrant strategy, the D&D strategy is a broad 4-quadrant strategy where we have this powerful brand that has similar awareness to like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. And we're going to imbue it with blockbuster entertainment like we have with the movie coming up, AAA, true AAA high-end gaming like we're going to have with Baldur's Gate 3 next year. And then just an amazing set of products that we will activate as Hasbro across our blueprint, whether that's what we're doing at D&D Beyond, what we're doing at hobby stores with new books and accessories, or what our consumer products team and licensing team are doing to build out a host of new collectibles and toys and games for a more casual fan. So as excited as I think Cynthia and I are for Magic's growth potential over the coming mid and long term, I think D&D could be a real new leg in the stool for our gaming portfolio as a whole and for Wizards specifically.
That was great. Thank you. And I promised 30 to 40-minute call, but let's take one more question and that's it. I'm trying to actually scan some questions to make sure I'm incorporating what I'm getting by email as well. And you already addressed that in some ways, right? Next year, Hasbro has a much better film slate, including the scheduled release of Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves on March 31st, I think, 2023. How do you define success with that film outside of the obvious kind of movie proceeds and upside to that economics? What would it mean for the D&D franchise? How do you define that success?
To me, the D&D film is the first big light up opportunity for that powerful 4-quadrant brand. The D&D film should, by all accounts, we feel like it's going to have a healthy box office. It's going to have significant marketing. Paramount, prior to the latest Transformers, Rise of the Beast trailers that just released last week, D&D was on track to be one of the top viewed trailers ever by Paramount. Transformers took that honor most recently, so we're still happy about that. But I think we're going to be able to light up D&D awareness. We're going to be able to activate that awareness with a host of products at retail, gaming, and online. And then we're going to follow it up. We're going to follow it up with a host of video games that we license out and work with like great partners like Larian, with Baldur's Gate 3 that we develop ourselves. And then follow that up with a host of new entertainment. Like, to me, Dungeons and Dragons is the real poster child for Blueprint 2.0, our overall corporate engagement story, which is doubling down on play, supercharging play with great storytelling and entertainment, and focusing on a category that we're an early leader in, the best innovator in, and have every right to win and grow our profitability and grow our return to shareholders. So consider me long on D&D.
Oh, fantastic. That's a great note to end this call on.